Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News. Now, the New Patriotic Party team on the Presidential Transition Committee has given indications that the incoming administration may revise some of the decisions taken by the outgoing government. This comes just the day after President John Mahama appointed new bosses for the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, and the National Commission of Civic Education, NCCE. The team of the MPP says it finds the decision by the president as a breach of agreement with the transition team that such matters would be discussed with members. This was contained in a statement they released earlier. My colleague Raymond Akwa is currently at the Accra International Conference Center with spokesperson for the MPP transition team, Kojo Opong Nkrumah, and he joins us live. Hello, Raymond.
So, following the appointment of the NCC and SHRAJ bosses, the NPP section of the transition team has been raising some concerns. And I have here with me the spokesperson of the team, Kojo Opong Nkrumah, to actually elucidate these concerns. So, the president carried out a constitutional mandate. Exactly what are your problems with this particular mandate?
Well, good afternoon to your viewers. I think yesterday the president-elect's team put out a statement that essentially explained that without creating too much fuss about what is going on, our position is pretty simple. One, that there was a prior agreement that appointments of this nature, without prejudice to the powers of the president and the incumbent administration to execute them, will be done in consultation with a joint transitional team or the joint transition team. Two, this was not done in this particular instant, and therefore the view of the president-elect's team is that this is unfortunate, it's disappointing, it amounts to bad faith. Three, we would like to serve notice that all of these last-minute appointments and recruitment contracts that are going on that are not subject to consultation and are not going through the framework that we have had a conversation about will, may I say, be open to a certain window, and that window was explained by the Honorable Yosaf Mafo, that the incoming administration will reserve the right to review these last-minute appointments, contracts, and recruitments that are being done. And then finally, the statement also made the point that we are, however, at the table engaging. We do ask our friends on the other side to engage with us so that whatever needs to be discussed at the table is discussed. Then you don't have to wait for power to change hands and for these reviews to take place. Essentially, that's how we have articulated our concerns currently. The important thing to us, as I speak to you now, is that the transition is ongoing. I am coming from one of the subcommittee meetings. There are many other meetings that are ongoing. Both sides of the divide are having conversations around the table. It's one item that's been breached, and we have served notice on that item. It is our hope that moving forward, things will be done in the spirit that the president and the president-elect have charged us to do in that spirit.
Clarify this for me. Open up on appointments to your side too.
These appointments were done yesterday, and they were sworn in yesterday. That's what we have all been informed about. Now, that is what we are saying is contrary to what we had agreed, that because of the nature of the times in which we are, it will be prudent just to consult, just to engage. Nonetheless, it's been done. Okay. What we are saying is that notice is just being served, that all of these things, the incoming administration reserves the right to review them. But the important thing is that the transition is still ongoing. There are many other conversations that are going on. Many departments, ministries, and agencies are engaging with our subcommittees, and we look forward to a smooth process.
I get that point, but some are saying that regardless of your joint agreement with the people on the other side, the laws cannot be said to be taking a second seat to any form of agreement. The president just carried out his lawful mandate.
There was the law, but in addition to the law, we went ahead to have an agreement. If the law as it stood, even the constitutional provision as it stood at the time was enough, we wouldn't even have needed a transition act in the first place. Beyond the transition act, we wouldn't even have needed the office of the Administrator General to sit with the ministries, departments, and agencies and develop a framework for reporting. We wouldn't then have even needed to have this agreement. So yes, there is the law, but beyond laws, there are conventions, there are many other things that we build on to make our democracy stronger.
Very much so, but we all do know, and you are a very good lawyer. I mean, you would know that the Constitution is the supreme law of the country and supersedes all of the other laws, arrangements, and agreements you do have. That's very clear, right?
It is, but listen, we're not getting into a legal debate with anybody. What we have done is to register our displeasure with what has gone on. And like I've said, we are going on with the transition. We are engaging with the other teams. Notice has importantly been served.
Talk about your displeasure, forgive me. Is it just with the fact that you are not informed of this particular decision, or you think there's something wrong with the appointment itself and the timing of this particular appointment?
The reason for which it was agreed that these things will be done in consultation is because we are not in ordinary times. Since we are not in ordinary times, it is important that as one government is phasing out and another is phased in, it's important for both sides to have conversations about some of these major matters so that we are all on one page. We share the concerns that either side has. We assuage either side's worries or apprehensions or fears. So it's not about, is there something wrong with the individual or is there something wrong with the timing? An agreement was reached. That agreement has been breached. It breaches the good faith with which we are working. And all that we are saying is that moving on, let us do things in that manner. The protest has been registered, but we are moving on. And we would like to ask that that spirit of mutual respect and cordiality around the transition be allowed to continue.
You did talk about that when the Akufo-Addo government comes into power fully, it would actually reserve the right to some of these decisions. Is it all the decisions or specifically ones you have in mind? Would it include that of the Shraj boss? Would it exclude the NCC position?
I am not the president-elect. The president-elect will decide what he wants to review and what he doesn't want to review. Today, as a team that he has tasked to go in there and do a job preparing for his assumption of office, all that we have said is that these things that have been done without regard to an agreement that we came to.
Okay.
And we would like to announce that when we pack up all the documents and make it available to the president-elect, he reserves a right to review these things that have been done without consultation in the broader scheme of things to the people who are charged with doing it around the table. So he will decide what he wants to review, what he doesn't want to review, what he wants to keep, what he doesn't want to keep.
Very much so, but you did mention the appointments, and we know of these appointments, that of Strat and also that of the NCC, but also talked about contracts too. Which specific contracts are we talking about?
Our statement did not talk about contracts that were being signed that were not subject to consultation. Our statement talked about these two appointments.
Okay.
Yes, admittedly, at the end of the statement, we mentioned that these appointments and other recruitments and appointments and contracts and other things that are being done without consultation will be subject to that open window of a choice by the president-elect whether or not he wants to review them. Now, as I speak to you, there are lots of individuals who are helping us with various bits of information, guiding us to, add A, B, and C to the work that we are doing. Some of those we will engage, in fact, all of those will engage our friends on the other side about. And if there are any things that are going on that will not be done according to the consultative process we have spoken about, those will all fall within that window.
Julius Debra heads the other section, the government side. Are you supposed to co-chair this particular engagement with Yao? Was done.
The discussions are ongoing. I do know that even yesterday and even this morning, discussions are ongoing even at the Flagstaff House as part of the transition. Those discussions are ongoing. As I speak to you, I do not have feedback from what the resolution of those discussions have been, but I do know that those discussions are ongoing. And indeed, in our statement yesterday, in the last paragraph, you notice that to continue to engage. Those are the engagements we are talking about, and those are the engagements that we are looking forward to, that we don't get any surprises on the other side.
The other point that's been raised is that you particularly should be happy. The very importance of a position like the Shraj boss, it's also enshrined in the fact that the independence of that particular institution should be guaranteed. So the independence of that institution will be fortified if it's appointed by the previous government and outlives that particular government and comes to your end, so they can check you properly. Is that the fear that you might have a very strong Shraj institution, which you fear would be a very big blow to your administration?
That, my brother, is a subsequent argument that we are not getting into. The argument that we have put a view to is the fact that we're at an agreement which has been breached. We are not happy about it. The incoming administration reserves a right to review, but we are at the table, so please engage with us on all other matters. If somebody chooses now to go into the detail that, oh, but maybe they didn't consult you, because those are all secondary matters. For us, the big matter is that this was the agreement, this has been breached, we are displeased, there's a right to review at the end of the day, but let us engage so that we don't have to exercise that right.
We still have hope that the other side will come. Important decisions they are likely to take in the future.
Well, we're not done with the transition. There's still a long way to go. We're hopeful that that spirit of cordiality would play at the table.
Let me be clear. Outside these decisions, more recent appointments that we are talking about, has there been other major decisions that they have consulted you on?
Not that I'm aware of at this stage. You know, it's just
a cause of worry.
Well, to the extent that some have happened on our blind side, you know, there's a bit of discomfort. But the protest has been registered, and we are going through the process. If there are any subsequent such decisions, we expect, and that's why we make the point that we are open to these engagements. We expect that that agreement will be respected. So if there are any, we're hopeful that they'll come to the table with it.
One other agreement that you came to when the documents were being submitted to you, the handover note, was whether or not you were going to get immediately or anytime soon that of the Office of Government Machinery, to wit, that of the Office of the President. Has this been delivered so far?
As I speak to you at this moment, I am not aware that we have received it. My last check suggests that we had not received it yet.
There was no time frame given for the submission of this?
No, but we're still expectant of it.
When do you think this is likely to come in?
We were told as soon as possible, so we're still expecting it.
When was the last time you reached out and found out information about this particular delivery?
That was just about 5 minutes ago.
And let me get this understanding. How crucial is this document to the performance of your duties? Is the Office of the President?
It is as crucial as what you find in all the other ministries, departments, and agencies. Admittedly, it is a summary of what you have in many of the other ministries, departments, and agencies, but it also contains a lot of detail about some of the agencies that report directly to the office.
So about 42 were told of previously?
Well, about 40 we are told. We have received 39, that outstanding. It is a summary, or we're expecting it to be a summary of many of these, and additionally to contain information on some of the agencies that report directly to the Office of the President. And it is our hope that it comes in good time so that our subcommittee working on it can get to work on it.
Is this a big worry to you? Of course, beyond the fact that it's actually a breach of the Transition Act, is it a big worry to you?
We're expectant of it.
Can you complete your work without this document?
We will complete our work with all the documents that are available to us. If we do not get a particular document in our report, we would have to make it known that we have done these reports, I think in law they would say per incuriam, without regard to this particular document that we were expecting. So if we do not get it, we'll still have to do our work without it. But
well, you just saw an interview with my colleague Raymond Aqua in a conversation with the spokesperson of the MPP team on the Transition Committee, Kojo Oponkruma, registering their displeasure about some recent appointments by the outgoing government. Meanwhile, the Environment, Science and Technology Minister, Mahama Yariga, has rejected criticisms from the incoming MPP administration that the existing NDC government is making politically expedient decisions that could tie the hands of the new government. Mahama Yariga stressed that the National Democratic Congress government, despite losing the 2016 general elections, still has a mandate of the people to govern until the midnight of January 6, 2017. He says it is therefore not wrong in law for the president to appoint a new head for the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, or the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, with a few days to hand over power. Now, he was speaking on Joy FM's Super Morning Show.
And so I don't want to go public on my position as expressed during the meetings of the transition team, because I want to respect the position of the team that we restrict.
Can you at least confirm whether or not there was consultation between the two co-chairpersons?
First and foremost, this is my position on the matter. The transition is taking place within a legal framework. That's the whole essence of enacting the law on transition. Now, that legal framework also is set within a constitutional framework. And that is where the issue of hard or soft letter of the law or the spirit of the law arises. And I take a firm position that First and foremost, the Constitution is unequivocally clear on the mandate of a president. No matter what you say about it, lame duck or whatever, the Constitution is clear on the tenure of a president, which terminates at the moment when he hands over, I believe, on the 7th of January 2017. Within his tenure, the Constitution is also clear on the things that he can do and not do, and how he should do it. One of those is to appoint the chairperson of the NCCE and to appoint the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. It says he should do so in consultation with, I think, the Council of State. And the President has appointed the chairperson of the NCCE and has appointed the Shraj Commissioner in accordance with the Constitution. No law violated, no Constitution violated. It doesn't violate the Transition Act. It doesn't violate the Constitution. And so when you start talking about bad faith, I'm asking, bad faith about what?
Was there consultation as agreed?
Listen, the issue about consultation, as I said, and I don't want to go into that, because there was some discussion. And, well, if you push me, I would say it. And if I get to the transition team, I would say, look, he pushed me on air, and it will look like I'm hiding something, so I had to speak. There was an issue about what Osafo Mafo said when we were beginning the work of the transition team, if you recall, when he said he had heard, but he didn't want to believe that government was recruiting workers into the services and agreements were being entered into and etc. The next meeting I raised the issue. I said, on what basis were you going public to ask us, question us in public what we do as a government? And I reminded him that we have up to the 7th of January. And so far as I know the law to be, we have a mandate to run this country. And I said, remember, on radio, when they said that people were violently attacking NDC supporters, everybody said, oh, President Mahama is still president until 7th of January. And so it is his duty to defend the citizens who are being attacked. And so President Mahama remains in office till the 7th and exercises those responsibilities that he's supposed to exercise as a president. So you can't sit here and say that President Mahama and his team cannot exercise power without consulting you. So we had that heated debate at the transition meeting, led by me, until there was an understanding, oh, well, it's not as if by law you don't have the power to do so, but there are certain things that when we come, we have to work on, and so it'd be good to raise those issues. So, yeah, if we feel that these are issues that we want you to be briefed and then to take over, fine, I don't have any objection to that. But that cannot extend to the president's exercise of his constitutional powers to make appointments as determined by
this actually
the
means there was no agreement. There was no agreement to consult each other before making such decisions.
No. There was agreement to engage.
So did you engage?
And I believe that engagement is in tiers. There are some basic issues over which really you yourself as an outgoing government will feel that matter like this, I need to engage. Is that okay? There are matters that really you feel that within the Constitution, it is clear-cut how this power is exercised. And the exercise of that power is protected by the Constitution. And so if you feel like engaging, you do. If you feel like, you can go ahead and exercise your powers as set out in the Constitution.
So there was no agreement to engage.
So the issue about bad faith being bandied around, I don't know. Lastly, you see, we are a country governed by the rule of law, and it is the law that we are looking out for. If we start looking for the spirit, we will find so many spirits.
Well, lawyer Kofi Bento says the latest appointment by government is inappropriate and will generate a lot of heat in the country.
It must not be this simplistic as Honorable is suggesting, that if we say the president must run the country, it means he can make key appointments at the last hour, which have the effect of binding hands of the incoming president. Running the country, such as running the police and other things, are important. What we must appreciate is that no law is perfect, no law is complete enough, and no law can foresee the future and take care of everything. That is why we have a transition law, and that is why there was an agreement. Look, that is why conventions are necessary, mutual agreements are necessary.
Suggests that
and
there
he's
was
trying to dodge
no
it.
agreement. That's actually the suggestion.
I was not there with him, and I haven't taken an oath not to reveal anything, but I can say for a fact that there was an agreement between the parties to consult each other on issues such as these, which are of a critical.
How are you able to corroborate?
I don't have to tell you my sources, but I'm saying so. And he should say they didn't do that.
For the benefit of our listeners,
not such as this.
So let me finish my point. So you see, I think they have breached at least a gentleman's agreement. The whole of the UK doesn't have a written constitution. They run that country on conventions. If we refuse to have these conventions rooted in good sense and fairness, and we try to explain things like these away, we'll make a wreck of our democracy. They must appreciate that these are key appointments which will not be affected or will not have their life within their term. So they erred, and I think they must not carry on in this fashion. It only will create heat.
Now, away from that issue, the Ghana Police Service is assuring of its readiness to clamp down on crime, particularly during the festive season. The service today launched the Operation Father Christmas, which is the force's action plan for the period. Speaking at the launch, Director General of Operations COP Christian Tete Yohunu said the police would deploy personnel at vantage points as well as undertake regular patrols to ensure the safety of all persons within the country.
Research has shown that during festive periods, crime wave, as well as the spate of road traffic accidents, they go up. During festive occasions, there's an increase in the movement of persons across the country. There's also an increase in commercial as well as social activities. This situation, unfortunately, makes it easy for criminals to commit crime, such as petty stealing, shoplifting, robberies, assaults, and many other offenses. Again, some motor vehicles drivers, in their bid to maximize profit, drive recklessly and cause road traffic accidents, leading to the loss of lives and injuries. As part of the strategies to curb such incidents, the service undertakes such operations to ensure that criminals do not have a field day and that residents celebrate the season in peace and tranquility. It is the intention of the Inspector General of Police that all residents in Ghana celebrate the Christmas and New Year festivity devoid of crime and any untoward occurrences. To this end, the police administration has put measures in place to ensure that law and order is maintained in the country, that law-abiding residents go about their daily activities without fear of crime. To achieve this, robust confidence-building and deterrent police patrols shall be organized in all regions. Such patrols shall be on 24/7 basis and will involve mobile and foot patrols. The patrols are meant to assure the general public that police are ready and willing to protect citizens. To this end, more police personnel have been drawn from their offices to join the patrol for better coverage and impact. Personnel from the National Police Headquarters have also been deployed to support Accra region in this exercise. Let me assure persons living on the outskirts of the various cities and towns that they have not been left out. Patrols are being extended to cover these areas as well. Let me also use this opportunity to appeal to residents to be extra vigilant and to motorists to exercise utmost caution during this period. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not leaving out the highways. The National Highway Patrol Unit is also to extend its activities to cover other crime-prone routes to make traveling on those routes safe.
Let's still stay with the police service. It is exactly 1 year, 9 months since the Ghana Police Service interdicted one of its top officers over a recruitment scam in the service. Mr. Timbila was alleged to have been directly involved in the scam with his signatures on some document the police administration said it had secured. This followed the false alert given to hundreds of potential recruits. Nearly 2 years after the interdiction, there's still very little information on what has been done to effectively deal with the scam. With just 16 days for current administration leave office, Francis Aban with our Total Recall desk revisits the incident.
It all started on the 6th of March 2015 after the Independence Parade, when it was announced by the police administration that COP Patrick Timbila had been put under house arrest. Director General in charge of Police Public Affairs DCOP David Ampabining was in the studio of Joy FM that afternoon to break the news.
Commissioner of Police, Mr. Patrick Edin Timbila, who is also the Director General in charge of Human Resource Development, the Ghana Police Service, upon the recommendation of the Special Task Force set up by the Police Administration, has been interdicted and also been placed under house arrest. It will be recalled that a special task force was put in place by the Police Administration, and it presented its interim report, which in its fears implicated the Commissioner. Interdiction was recommended by the Special Task Force investigating the recent recruitment scam, which has generated a lot of discussion on various media platforms earlier this week. We are taking this action to enable the task force investigating to have full access to the Commissioner and then for investigations to continue.
DCOP Patrick Timbila is a Director General of Police Human Resource Development, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. And what this decision taking means what exactly for him? He's been placed on a house arrest.
It's on interdiction.
Okay.
When you are on interdiction, you are not supposed to come to office. It's so that you can cooperate fully with the investigating team. And as and when we have enough evidence, we will update the press of the ongoing exercise.
And the house arrest also specifically means what exactly?
It's not supposed to appear in public. He must stay in his house. It's not to be seen outside, and that is it. Because he's a very senior officer, and we are conducting this investigation. Please take him.
Okay. And this week, when the press conference was held by your good self, it was said that some of the recruitment forms that the people who were hoping to get into service showed had a signature on it. Some said that signature was forged. Was that signature that of DCOP allegedly?
His name was there. There was a signature under. The task force is investigating. Maybe it may need some forensic auditing, checking, but he's denying that is not his signature. And there's also the committee investigating team. So it's, I mean, true, one against each other. But I believe that the investigation, they know what to do. They will subject it to some forensic auditing and find out whether it is his actual signature. But for the time being, the investigating team, they have come up with some recommendations, and they are convinced that his presence may interfere in the investigations.
The Director General of the Police Human Resource and Administration at the time, COP Patrick Timbila, who had been asked not to step out of his home, ironically had addressed the press days before his interdiction on the matter.
To get people into police is quite meticulous. We won't say it's cumbersome. They should exercise patience for it. Look at even we go to all the regions in order to ensure regional balance. That is why people don't want to wait for. And this time, we are going to arrest them for possession of forged document, and the onus will allow on them to prove where the source of that document. Failing that, then we have to take the law on them.
A special task force which was set up to investigate the matter is reported to have seen text messages and other correspondence between him and the victims, and he was subsequently interdicted. Mr. Timbila denied any wrongdoing. 3 days after the announcement, then Interior Minister Mark Woyongo, who was part of the police council, said Mr. Timbila was on interdiction and not under house arrest.
He's on interdiction, and we even gone further to indicate that as the task was to freeze the assets of the bank accounts of all those who are implicated in this scam. All his accounts will be frozen until they have unraveled the truth about this whole scam.
About 12 persons, including 2 police officers, were also put behind bars on the matter. It did not end there. The Interior Ministry, together with the Ghana Police Service, launched investigations into the matter and mounted an search for the culprits. After this, Rose Bioatinga, then Director General of Administration at the Police Service, told Beatrice Edu in an exclusive interview that the case had been handed over to a commission of inquiry for further investigations and that the police would also not be pressured to finish the report.
He is facing an inquiry. That is what is ongoing. The docket, the criminal aspect is with the law office. They will decide on the next line of action.
But obviously, before you submitted the report to the next agent to investigate, you had found something. What did you find?
And that is what is before the service inquiry.
You don't want to reveal what you found?
The inquiry will disclose whether Mr. Patrick Timbila has misconducted himself or otherwise.
Some anti-corruption agencies and some other individuals think that the police is keeping so long and it is possible you may be covering something up.
That is not so at all. Those people do not know our internal procedures. We will not be forced for expediency to submit an inquiry that will not meet the test of time.
Meanwhile, John Hughes' Council is meeting today. It's unclear whether Mr. Timbila's case is on the agenda. You're watching John News today with me, Benis Abu Bedu. We'll take a quick break. When I come back, I'll tell you what some national service personnel are saying about the latest increment in their allowance. Please stay with us.